This is Fox 5 News Morning.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser promising a swift investigation into allegations that Ballou High School students graduated even though they didn't meet attendance requirements. A report by WAMU Radio says that some students had too many unexcused absences to meet attendance guidelines, but were okayed for graduation anyway. Joining us now, Markus Batchelor, a member of the D.C. Board of Education representing Ward 8. We should note that we also invited Antoine Wilson, Chancellor of D.C. Public Schools, to come in at this time. He has declined, though he has put a statement out on the Ballou homepage saying that swift action will be taken. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you are a son of Ward 8 through and through.
Yes.
What was your reaction to these allegations of what's going on at Ballou?
Yeah, well, the allegations at its face were disturbing and concerning to me. And obviously, I think like most folks in our community, I want swift action taken to really get to the bottom of this issue and figure out whether it's emblematic of a more systemic issue we have system-wide across our system. And that's really my focus at this point.
Because basically they focused on last year's graduating class, but the irregularities in it, you have so many students who just didn't, on the face of it, even if they went and got straight A's in every class, just did not meet the requirements of attendance. Yeah. What does that say to you? Well,
I mean, you know, schools across our community have problems with chronic absenteeism, and it's something that I think the system has tried to tackle, but we have to do a lot better because if students aren't in the classroom, they can't learn, plain and simple. And so we have to make sure that we put systems in place that support families in getting their children to school and then create school environments that really make students want to be there.
Because we do know that there are other factors sometime, and we understand that. Just the number here, it seems to me the school just did not do these students any favors, though, by graduating them anyway. And then the story, the success story, which we all were so happy to hear initially about this graduating class.
Yeah, and what I'll say is, you know, I represent 43 school communities across Ward 8, and Ballou, just like so many of my school communities, have brilliant students and dedicated staff members and educators. But when allegations like this come up, we have to investigate them to the fullest extent and make sure that all of our students are being served. And so that's what we want to do. You know, we don't want to make this necessarily a story about Ballou, which is a great community, but we want to make it a story about a system that may be able to do things better for our students.
And maybe failing the students. So the mayor has taken swift action. In fact, she says she wants results after 45 days after these two probes are launched here. What are you looking for as a member of the board?
Yeah, well, I think those two probes are a positive step forward. I think when a system is willing to look at itself and some of its issues and put itself on corrective action, I think that's great. But I also think that, you know, this is emblematic. This is emblematic of an anemic, you know, form of oversight that we have over our public education system. And so while I think, you know, that investigation is a positive step forward, I've called for an independent investigation of these allegations, not just at this school, but system-wide, to make sure that we're serving our students in the best way.
Also, too, when you hear these stories, and we saw this with Prince George's County Public Schools, it's the question of, is someone saying, pass these students? Is someone saying, get this story out, that there is, you know, all the graduation rate is what it is? And even to go further and say that each graduating senior had received at least one college acceptance. Where does that stand, by the way? Because when we reported the story, we thought, well, is that really the truth? Do you know?
Well, as far as I know, that all the students who walked in June were also accepted to a college or university, many of them, you know, to local community colleges. But the point is that every student walked out of the building with an option to get a higher education, and I think that's a great thing. Yeah.
Some said, and some of the reports are talking about teachers who had been there who said that some of these graduating seniors did not even meet the basic requirements of reading and writing. Yeah. That's very disturbing.
It is, and if that's the case, then we need to figure out how we better support students who, you know, are struggling, and how we support them before their senior year, before we start looking at the graduation requirements and seeing they're in danger. How do we support them from elementary school, from middle school, to make sure they're on track to graduation. Because when you get to high school, it's almost too late. You have to really catch students and give them those supports as early as possible.
We'll be waiting for the results of the probe to come out and rooting for the school. But I got to say, the numbers just don't look promising at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers at its face are really disturbing, and I look forward to getting more information over the next weeks and months. And if we find that there was some significant amount of wrongdoing, you know, I'll be the first to call for those folks to be held accountable.
All right, Markus Batchelor, D.C. Board of Education, representing Ward 8. Tucker, over to you.